myself together here. That's always a good thing. Me and stress don't do very well. I struggle a little bit, but hey everyone, I see Froggy is here. Um, reading your first comment about the fire. It's under control. Yay. Yeah, all these fires are insane. Even in like Oregon and Washington, yeah, in Spokane. What's fabric? I'd be buying yards of it. Yeah, it is. The paper is really pretty. The greens really do pop on this. Um, we got Sharon and Tracy. Oops, don't want to move me. Let me just move this. Tracy and it jumped on me. Hold on. It jump. And there's Kim and Yvonne remembered. I'm very proud of you. um, let's see. Who else? Where's that custom card maker? She's the one that when texted me earlier asking me if I was going live tonight. There she is. Oh, yeah, Vaughn, what's for dinner? I had leftovers. I actually had dinner before going live. Usually doesn't happen until after the fact. But last night, Yvonne, I ended up making a stir fry with those veggies and made some rice to go with it. So of course there was leftovers, and so I heated some up. Um, yeah, probably around 4:30 ish or so. And yeah, so I'm all good. And Alfredo pasta, maybe clams. Ugh, I'm not a seafood person, not at all. Um, I know, but this doesn't happen all the time. The only way this is gonna happen is if I have leftovers, from the night before. I'm fine eating leftovers until it's gone. I mean, I'm fine with that. But yeah. So other than that, well, a little while ago, I want to say it was around 4ish or so. It started sprinkling a little bit, started getting a little cloudy, and there was some thunder. Um, it may be raining lightly right now. It's kind of hard to tell looking out the window. But it's still daylight, a little breezy, but it's still warm out there. Um, 6:45. Um, so so how are things going, Yvonne? Is everything going good? I mean, I haven't talked to Yvonne since what was it? That day that you left last week, maybe? I don't know. Maybe there was a text message or kind of like thrown in there. Out east on Long Island and do not like seafood. Y- growing up, well, here's the thing about with the seafood thing. Clams is a very big thing out on Long Island. And snappers were another thing. I used to like go fishing with my dad, um, quite often. I mean, we didn't fish out in the ocean. We had, the bay and all that. And so, I was kind of okay with it. However, I mean, not like shrimp, not lobster. Maybe it's because it's like a texture thing. But the thing was, after years later, when I moved to Ohio, now I know it's a whole lot different, buying something that's store bought and prepared as opposed to that. But it got to the point that maybe after two bites of it, it just started tasting weird to me. So just from that point, I just decided to, just not really have it anymore. So I'm totally fine with it. I don't feel like I'm missing out at all because there's so many other things that are really good out there. That's the problem. There's just too many good things. Let's see. What are we saying here? Alfredo made with cottage cheese. Hopefully it'll be good. So does Don know that you're making the Alfredo sauce with cottage cheese? Um, yeah, clam chowder was never. You know what I like? The baked clams is what I liked. But yeah, like even things like you know the mussels and all that. You know, some would eat it raw. Ugh, no, no, no. Um, let's see. No, not yet. Okay. Are you just gonna let him eat it and then tell him afterwards? Or are you gonna tell him beforehand and give him a heads up? Um, okay. So what I'm gonna do, a whole bunch of you are already here, so we're gonna get started because the projects, they're not too bad. They're not, they're definitely not, I don't think anything's gonna top the hot foiling video. But the cards are fairly simple and easy. One thing, there's a couple of things that I want to show you, um, before we get started. And I'm going to give you a heads up what's happening for the Fridays. Yeah, you may not, that's what I'm thinking. Um, so I still got my newsletter to do, which I'll be able to work on that. I don't know about tonight because usually by the time I'm done doing this, I just kind of like to chill a bit. I don't have to worry about eating. That's already taken care of. But the newsletter, I started working on it. I'm going to continue to like get that finished up and I'm going to get that sent out. I do what I'm doing for the Fridays. I already put that down, and I kind of like what we're going to be using. So yeah, let me go ahead. Let me flip this. Go through some of these announcements. Show you what we're using, and then we're going to get started and actually work on these projects and get them done. So let me. Yeah, as long as the cottage cheese was like whipped up where you can't tell it's cottage cheese, I think that's your only saving grace. And of course, whatever spices or whatever you put in there too. So, all right, let me flip. Let me bring this down. Just bear with me while I get this all to where I want it to be and get my little level thing here. Let's get ourselves situated, fix this camera, or the phone actually. Da, 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 da. And let's check this way. It looks good. I think we're good. So we'll put that down. So the new September through December catalog, which I know we don't have many catalogs anymore, but this would be the one that I would lovingly refer to as our holiday catalog. This catalog, of course, I can't open it up yet. There's a lot of fall. There's of course a lot of Christmas and some winter items that are in here. This Advent tree with the boxes, uh, I've kind of seen pictures of the boxes, and the boxes aren't really teeny tiny, so this is probably going to be pretty big in size. What I really want to do with this, I would really love to put together an in-person event. I'm thinking it could be like maybe in October, towards maybe the end of October or very early November. Um, yeah, because this just looks so neat, and yeah, I definitely want to make this. An idea. I could end up doing something live with this. I mean, I typically have never really used Zoom. So I don't know, maybe we can do like a group project thing or something. Maybe plan something that we can all like kind of come together instead of, just me and doing the live. We can kind of like all kind of come together and we can show what we're working on. We can work on the same thing. It's an idea, so let me know what you think about that. So the catalog, again, this is going to go live on September 1st. Right now, demonstrators are able to pre-order out of this. Um, if you are, well, one, if you're not a demonstrator, if you're here in the US and you're not already working with another demonstrator, meaning you're ordering with them, and you would like a paper copy of this, my email, it is pinned in the comment up at the top of the chat box. It's also in the description of the video. Just send me an email and let me know that you would like a copy of this. When the pre-order opened up for this, I did order a package of catalogs, so I'll be more than happy to mail one out to you. As far as like, here's my planner. Yeah, it's my sister's birthday, so happy birthday to my sister. Um, so tonight we're doing the Moonlit Flora suite. And then I have for next Friday, we're going to do the Velvet and Meadow suite. Now this one, I know the paper is on back order. As a matter of fact, I'll show the graphic here in a little bit. Right now, Stampin' Up! Has what is it, 15% off designer series paper and cardstock. It's a select ones, it's not every single one of them. That velvet paper and this paper here, the Moonlit Flora, both of them are currently unavailable, so I don't know if they're going to be back before the sale is over. So, yeah, I didn't quite check to see the inventory status report to see when it's coming back, but yeah, two items at least that aren't available for the sale. Then we're going to do next Friday. We're going to, about Friday the 21st, not next Friday, we're going to do the All a Flutter bundle. So that is that stamp set with the butterflies, and then it has the coordinating punch to it. And then Friday the 28th, look what Friday the 28th says. Sharon's birthday is coming up. That Friday, we're going to use something new that's going to be in this new September through December catalog. We're going to use the Sunflower Field Suite. So if you've been following some other demonstrators, maybe they've, gotten a pre-order with that in it and they've shown it, they've played with it. Um, Very pretty, very fall. And so we're going to use that on the last Friday of the month. I have, right now, I have like, do I want to say I got 3 paper pumpkins since May, June, July. And then August, that's gonna close out on the 10th. So is that next Monday. So I have some paper pumpkins that I have not done videos for. So yeah, I could end up doing that probably this weekend, get them recorded and get them posted. So that way we're keeping on track with those. At the moment, I'm still going to keep the Throwback Thursdays kind of like paused, along with like the monthly Christmas card inspiration. As we get a little bit closer, like maybe into September, October, it's going to be a lot of Christmas coming up. So I'll kind of plug it in at that point. So right now with Paper Pumpkin, I believe they said if you haven't been a subscriber in the past 18 months, I think it is, that you can get 25% off on your first kit. This is for the pay-as-you-go subscription, not the prepaid kits. Now with Paper Pumpkin, you can pause, you can start up, you can skip a month, you can cancel. There's no penalty at all to it. You just got to remember that you have to do it by the 10th of each month. It's going to reflect that month's kit. So this sale is going to end on August 10th. So if you've been thinking about trying Paper Pumpkin, now it's available in all our markets. Yeah, you get 25% off of your first kit. And then that kit is the Kindred Greetings. So you can see that there's these panels that have this intricate die cut in it. Saying it's even textured card bases and envelopes. So yeah, it kind of looks like a linen pattern on those card bases. I've seen cards that have had that texture on it. So very cool. So again, August 10th is the last day that you can subscribe. And if you currently are a subscriber, if this is the kit that you're like, you can pause it. You can, skip the month. If you really, really like it and you want to up the quantity, you can do that as well. Just remember the 10th of the month is the last day to do any of that. Then I'm looking forward to this one. So when August 11th hits, it opens up the new subscription period. Now after the August kit, after the 10th of August, that 25% off sale is going to be done. But the kit for September is the Aspens of Gratitude. So now we're getting into the fall stuff. So love, 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 love. And as you can see, the card bases have hand-painted watercolor designs on them. I think we need to play in watercoloring and make something similar. The wheels are turning, wheels are turning. And then I'm pretty sure these are still available if you are a subscriber. Stampin' Up! Does have, for Paper Pumpkin, they got coordinating add-on dies that coordinate with, this one is the July, August, and September kits. And then when it comes to October, then there's going to be a new set of dies that'll coordinate. And again, these dies, you don't need them to complete the projects in the kits. These are just add-ons where you can do some alternative projects and you can just use it in any of your paper crafting. And then this is just a description of all of the kits. Here is the 15% off select designer series paper and cardstock sale. This will go through August 31st. So in here, again, it's not all of the designer series paper. It's just a select variety of them. There's also some select colors of two-tone cardstock. There's no, the packages that have like a couple of sheets of different colors, the variety pack. It's just the solid colors, but again, it's not every single color. And then there's also some 8.5 by 11 cardstock also on the sale. Again, not every color. So yeah, so this will go on in through August 31st. One of the things Stampin' Up! Is doing, they did change up. If you wanted to become a demonstrator, they kind of changed up the way you would join. Instead of like right up front, choosing $125 in product, you actually pay the $100 to join, and then you get an email with your demonstrator ID. You get a coupon code worth $125, and then you can place your first order and use that $125 credit for the stuff that would be in your starter kit. They changed that up because, sometimes it was hard you got to be exact on the 125. You can't go over. So this way, if you wanted to place the order with your starter kit stuff, you can also add more things on it. And then those extra items that you add on over the 125, you will get your discount on it, and you'll also earn Stampin' rewards on that as well. There's also this applies to if you have never ever joined Stampin' Up. I mean, they know because your social would be in the system that you had been a demonstrator before. But if you are brand spanking new, never been a demonstrator, one of the things that Stampin' Up! Also is going to send you is a welcome box. So there's some fun little goodies in there. You got like an acrylic block. You got a little cute little mini pop-up trash bin. There's a card kit in there. There's a welcome letter from Sarah. And so there's a couple of little fun goodies that are in the box. So if you're brand new and you join, this is going to be sent to you separate from when you place that order with your starter kit items. So if you got any questions about that, feel free to reach out. Last chance product listing has been updated, so it updated earlier this month, and so there's some new items. There's items in there that's from our current May through August catalog, things that were in the online exclusives. So that's been updated, so go and check that out. Oh my gosh, this, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet. The product of the month for August. I don't know how well this is going to come over, but oh my gosh. Look at that paper. It's got pumpkins on it, it's got leaves, and it just screams fall. So this is the Glow of Harvest. It's 12 by 12 specialty designer series paper. So they're saying that the patterns are tighter, so they make for excellent backgrounds. And the finish on now these are one-sided. There's no print on the other. And the paper is also got a pearlized finish, so it adds a little bit of shimmer to it. But oh my gosh, it's like this would be the paper that I would order like a few packs of it. But unfortunately, because it's product of the month, we're only limited to one. So you know what that means, guys. I may just have to hoard this one, but we'll see. We'll see. I just really, really, really love this. Really love it. So that is what just came out for the month of August. And then, let's see, the July product of the month, Begonia Bell. This is still available. And yeah, so right now these are the only two things that are available. That's product of the month, that berry something, botanical berry, whatever it was called, the vellum. That is now gone. So these are July and August are the only two that are still there. And there's my little cheat sheet with all my little dimensions for my cardstock pieces, cardstock and paper pieces. So that is what I have for the announcements. And again, like I mentioned, I will be working on my newsletter to get that out for the month of August. And again, if you want a copy of this, let me know. And then let's now get into what we are working with. So so tonight we're going to be using the Moonlit Flora suite. So we have the designer series paper, and like I think who was it that was saying? Oh, I feel so bad that now I'm forgetting who said it. Was it Froggy? Was it Sharon? I don't remember, but something about your daughter really would love this pattern, the pattern of this pack of paper. So a lot of greens on it. You got your pop of your Berry Burst and your Golden Glow. And so really fun paper. It was kind of hard to cut into this paper, but I got to be better. I got to use paper because I have done nothing but hoard for most of the years that I've been purchasing Stampin' Up! Stuff. And I just have a whole load of paper. So I'm getting better on using it. So these are the patterns. You got some bigger prints that would be good if you're into doing like the 12 by 12 scrapbooking pages, but just a lot of bright greens and some of that golden glow. Really pretty. So let me put this aside. Actually, I can put it on the shelf right behind me since I got everything done. Actually, yesterday I went through what was in the last chance list, and I pulled out embellishments. I pulled out, make sure I'm pulled all the way out. I'm not pulled all the way out. So like any embellishments, ribbons, papers that have retired, I pulled them off of the shelf to make more room because it is a little tight up there with the paper. All right, so what else is in this suite? So there are the Dewdrops embellishments. So we have Secret Sea, Old Olive, and Clear Drops. And what's nice about these, you can see through them. So wherever you put it on the paper, you're going to see that print behind these. And let's see, who else is here? Kim is here. Hi, Kim. I'm a paper hoarder too. Hello, Holly. Okay. Yes, you're among friends. And like, what some other demonstrators also say, like on, on their page or in their studio, whatever, there's no judgment. No judgment at all. Yeah, I think that's the problem, Froggy, when I finally now have a room that is a dedicated room. It's like, yeah, this could be very, very bad if this room was a lot bigger, but the truth is I would love for the space to be a little bit bigger so then, you know, I can have people over and we can sit back here and not at the dining room table, and then I literally make laps back and forth up and down the hallway to get whatever things I may need. Also, going back to what else is in the suite. So there is the Fern and Flora 3D embossing folder. So this is just an embossing folder. This isn't a hybrid embossing folder, so it's not going to work with the dies. So just kind of like a heads up on that. Also, we got the bundle as well. So the bundle, Fern and Flora. So because now the packaging is the same size, I can take these and I can put them together. So on one side I have my stamp set, and then on the other side I have the set of dies. So you got some dies that are going to cut out like the stamped images, and then you have some other more detailed ones where you can build a flower. There's little parts to the flower, and then you got your fern leaves as well. So very cool. It's just taken me a little bit to get around to finally using this suite. So let me show you. I'm gonna going forward. I can talk. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you what the card looks like before before we start. Why not? So this is going to be the first card. So because the background here has black in it, I decided to go with basic black as my card base. And then I have a border of that golden glow color. And again, using some of the detailed flowers. And then I have a piece of basic white in there. So you can stamp a greeting in there. You can write whatever you want in there. Let's see. Let me move this over here. Oh, what is my thing doing? Let me kind of scroll down. Okay, so I can move this up. All right, so let me pull out my pieces. So there are a couple of little teeny tiny pieces in here that I don't want to lose. Oh, and by the way, last week when I did that, was it the first card where I used the punch out pieces out of that, what is it, the Violet Dreams paper? Guys, I didn't lose that little flower punch out. I just never punched it out of the paper because I looked everywhere, didn't see it, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's still in the package of paper. And when I looked, yeah, well, it was never punched out. So I didn't lose it. I did find it. it got put on the card. I added the Winkastella, and it was all good. And I think it was Deborah that had gotten that card. So, yay. All right. So my card base is basic black, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. And I have a piece of basic white to go inside. Yeah, I know I'm funny. I'm hilarious. 5.25 by 4 for our inside. Then I have a piece of Golden Glow that is the same size, 5.25 by 4. And then I cut out a, now with this pattern, I mean, the images are larger. So this piece measures 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And then added some scraps here. So basic white, there's this label. I'm going to show you where this label came from. I had stamped, I don't know if I want to call these butterflies, or I would think that maybe they're moss. So there's two different ones in the stamp set. So I stamped them. Again, I use Secret C to stamp them, and then I die cut them. There is one die, and I don't know if you can really see it, but there's one die that die cuts these little pieces. These are the centers of the flowers that you can build. So those three pieces there out of basic white. And then there's one die that die cuts all of these pieces. If I can, come on, get off there. Fingers don't want to work. You know, when you got these really delicate die cuts, I don't want them to get all bent up. So there's one die that will die cut all these pieces, and these are gonna build actually three little flowers. And then out of Old Olive, I die cut this little detailed leaf that's gonna have these flowers on it. All right, so I'm gonna bring in, and I'm gonna explain where that came from. So that this label, this one right here, this comes from the Stitched Stocking set of dies. So where is it? Right there. This die right here. Needed something a little bit longer to have my greeting on there, and also the flowers. All right, so let me just carefully knock those off, not lose them. So I'm gonna fold and burnish my card base. Let's see. Oh yeah, well, black's been black's been your second boyfriend, Terry. Blue's first. As a matter of fact, when Terry was here in April, for her birthday, I actually got her this whole suite of product. I don't know if she's played with it yet, or maybe she was waiting for me to do something with it to kind of give her a little bit of mojo or inspiration. Okay, so let me see if this glue is gonna work. I went to use this and it was clogged a little bit, but it's a fuller, okay, it works good. It is a fuller bottle. The other one I have to add more glue into it. We're going to take this, and we're going to put this inside. You was waiting? All right. Okay. We'll set that aside. We'll bring in our Golden Glow and our Designer Series paper. And there's just going to be a little border all the way around. The skin's all dry on the tips of my fingers. Didn't think to put lotion on before I started. Alright, then I'm going to take this, we'll glue this on top. Oops, let's not glue down our flower center. Alright, and then we'll center this like so. Alright, so then I'm going to bring in my my Peaceful Pine ink, and we need the stamp set. Alright, move that out of the way, put that there, put that there. And this one is going to be a thank you card, so we're going to go with Sincere Thanks. And let's get a block. I was ready to flip this thing open. Out of force of habit. Alright. Ink this up. And I'm going to stamp this over to the left. Like so. Alright, put that over there. And again, I already did those moths, so I don't have to stamp those. And again, I stamped those in Secret Sea ink. Alright, so let's take these flower pieces here. See if I can pick these up. Alright, so now we have these ones that look like little bow ties. So you have larger ones and then you have smaller. So this one will go to this one. Alright, and I'm going to get my take your pick tool. Okay, I'm going to add, let's see, so these larger, wider pieces, that'll go on the bottom. And then take the other one, put it right on top. Press that down. Avoid getting glue all over my fingers. I look all wonky. Hold on. That's straight. Okay. And drop. And then we'll put that on top of that one. Okay, and then we're going to bring in these little flower centers. So for my larger one, let's see, make sure I got these the right way. And the bigger one. Okay. So just put a little dot right in the middle. And then we'll pick them up. Okay, and then on this one, we're going to add some glue right there. And this piece, and place it right there. And then this piece is going to go over that. So I'm going to add a little bit down here. All right. And then this is going to go right over the top. Like so. Okay. So there's our assembled flowers. All right, so now I'm going to take my banner here. I'm going to get this greenery piece. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. Now I could use the silicone brush on this too. But this isn't too bad. All right. And then I'm going to place that right over here, like so. All right, and then these pieces are going to be popped up. So I think I got to use the little ones on all of these. So flip these all over. And let me find some little ones. I got a lot of sheets here that have the edging on them, which are good for doing the backs of panels. But do I have another sheet that has little white ones? No. Hold please. All right, nice new sheet. Ooh, an air show. Man, there's just something when you hear like those fighter jets go overhead. Oh, man, love it. Love it. Okay. And we'll add one right on the back of this one. It just fits. All right, so I'm going to take, well, I'm going to put this down first before I put those down. Because I want to make sure, because this is going to kind of be popped up as well. So I'm going to take 2 dimensionals, put that there, and then I'm going to take some seal. I'm going to add it right into the middle here. And I'm going to take some, now there's no ribbon that comes with this suite, so I got some linen thread. Now when I did my sample card, you see how that kind of buckles a little bit? That's because the knot of the bow that I did with the linen thread kind of makes it stick up a little bit higher than the, like the ends that have the dimensionals on it. So instead of doing a bow, I'm going to do, I'll just do, or I'm going to attempt to do some zigzags here. So this way it'll lay flat. Like down a little bit. Okay. Snip. And snip. Okay. Let's take these off. We're not going to be able to stick this down with the paper backings on it. And then we're going to place this, let's see, right here, like so. So that lays a whole lot better now. All right, I should have done that on the sample card. I can probably fix that. All right, so now I'm going to place down these flower blooms. So this larger one, I want to stick that one right there. The ospreys. I've heard of them. What are they equivalent to? They're equivalent to another bird, aren't they, Terry? Let's see. Yeah, when I was up in Cleveland, used to hear those jets all the time. It was always so cool. And where I lived, well, the last place that I lived before I moved down here, I literally had the airport, Cleveland Hopkins, practically. It was practically my backyard. I mean, I can walk to the airport if I wanted to. That was pretty cool. Okay, so we have that. Now we're going to add a little bit of embellishment to this. So move that out of the way. We are going to take our butterflies, no, our moss, and I'm going to get, let's see, we'll get a dimensional. Oh, it's a plane. Never mind. Duh. We're talking about air show and all that. Okay. All right. So then we're going to add these, and we're going to add, let's see. I'm going to change it up a little bit because on my sample card by the print, these two moss are right here. So I kind of added these here. So since we have one right there, we'll add one over here. And then we'll get a small one. And we'll put that on there. I'm just bending up the wings a little bit. And then we'll add that one there. Now on this, let's see, what do I want? I want the embellishments. And for this one, I'm going to use the green ones. And let's add one right there. Add there, and these, there's two different sizes. There's a large and there's also a small. So there we go, we got that. And then one more thing that I want to add is a little bit of Stella. Now, these two that I had stamped, this will pull up the color. So I'm gonna color the one that's on the paper. And let me see. I did not. Okay. Let's checking to see if I added any on to the flowers on this one. I didn't. So this, I'm just going to be very quick because, as you can see, it does pull up some of that ink. And clean that off. There we go. If we do too much, then we're going to have blue moss. Okay, and there we go. There's the first card. So we're letting the paper do all the work on this one. I think it came out cool. All right, green's not exactly, you know, my color. However, I like it. Okay, there's Deborah. Hello, Deborah. Okay. All right, so now our next card. Let's pull that all out. All right. Okay, so here is what our second card looks like. So this one, we're going to be doing a little bit of coloring with our blends. And again, using the designer series paper, getting better at doing that. And the same thing with this, you see how it kind of buckles up a little bit. That's only because I tied this as a knot and put it behind it. So I'm going to do like I did on that last card, where I'm not going to tie it as a knot. I'm just going to like lay it flat. It lays a whole lot better. All right. So for my card base, we have basic white thick. That's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of the Moonlit Flora Designer Series paper. This is the same size as our card front, so that's 5.5 by 4 1/4. I have a piece of basic white, and then a piece of that Moonlit Flora, so it's the other side. And I had used the largest square in the Stylish Shapes dies. These are still available. So those are die cut out. And it's about, if you don't have the dies, these are approximately a 3-inch square. So basic white and the designer series paper. And then the label that comes in with the set of dies to the bundle. So this one right here. So this is the stamp. So on this label there is the stamp to do the frame. So I stamped that and then die cut this out, and I stamped that using Golden Glow ink. And then again, kind of sticking with, instead of using like black or gray, I stamped, there's 2 little floral bouquet images in there. So again, these are stamped on basic white in Secrecy ink, and then I die cut them. And then our larger moth, that to Secrecy on basic white. All right, let's fold and burnish. All right. We got that. We're going to take our designer series paper and our glue. All right. I find this is the easiest way to kind of line this up. And again, I don't use seal to do this part because that stuff sticks pretty well, even if you just get a little part of it stuck on there. And then it turns out it doesn't go on straight, and next thing you know, you got to kind of pull your paper off of it to try and line it up, and then it's all wrinkled. Yeah, so liquid glue is the best bet for that. All right, so we have this piece here, and we're going to do a little bit of stamping on this piece here. So in here, there's this one stamp that has these little lines on it. I'm going to use that one. And then the greeting on this one, we're using "You're an Amazing Friend." All right, get blocks. Let's take that and that. And then let me get some scrap paper. Let's see. I'm going to move that out of the way. All right. And we're going to bring in Peaceful Pine again. I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to stamp this off. And then right in the middle, there we go. And then let's see, let's close that up. And then we're going to bring in Secrecy. And we're going to bring in our label. That up, and stamp that right in the center. There we go. All right. Let's see, Froggy. The only military stuff my family has been in is the Boer War in South Africa in 1901. Wow. I will have to say my dad was in the Navy, and he wasn't part of any of the wars. I know he was kind of like stationed on a destroyer, which happened to be the same one that I made mention back in, was it 1976, when they celebrated the bicentennial. We were living in Bayonne, New Jersey, and that's where the ship was docked. And we actually got to be on the ship to watch all the fireworks at the Statue of Liberty. Very, very cool memory. Loved it. All right, so now we're going to do some coloring. So let me bring in the blends that we are using. So I have both light and dark Mossy, Meadow, and I have to check, but I noticed when I went to open this up, I got to be careful because the inside of it comes out. It's evidently cracked right here, but it still has ink in it. So I got to check to see if I got another set in my drawer, and if not, I have to order another set of those. I also have light and dark soft sea foam, the light and dark golden glow, and then also the light and dark berry burst. All right, so let's bring in our flowered pieces. And then we have our moth. All right, so I want to start with the light. Now this is the one I got to be careful with, that this thing doesn't go flying. Okay. And I'm going to color in all of these leaves. I'm kind of surprised that this wasn't dried out. but it looks like that it may be somewhat on its way out. I have had these for a while, so. All right, another leaf. The sun had popped out a moment ago, but now it looks like it's cloudy again. All right, there's another leaf here. Mm-hmm. All right, so that's that one. This one. So so this card is kind of a case of a card that I saw on Pinterest. I changed it up a bit. So like this panel here that background is kind of stamped on, the images were actually stamped directly on that, and then they were colored in. And I thought, well, instead of having like this showing through the images, I would just stamp them and then die cut them and color them and then just layer them on top. And the card base was different. There was no paper added to it. It was actually Secret C, and then the pattern was a little bit different too on that die cut. So I get my inspiration off of, you know, finding things on Pinterest and all that, and I like to try and change it up a little bit, you know, kind of make it my own. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let those dry, and then I'm going to come in with the dark, and I'm going to just add some shadow on there. So then I'm going to come in with my light berry burst, and then these flowers that look like little hearts. I'm going to take a little drink of water because like all of a sudden my throat just got like very dry. Oh. That's interesting, Kim. Yvonne's not on here. She probably stepped away. Cause so was Don. Don was working in the movie business too. At first I thought that was Yvonne making the comment, and then when I looked, it's like, oh no. Bayonne, New York. Yeah, in New Jersey, it's Bayonne. I'm turning a fan on. It's getting a little warm in here. A little warm. How we doing on time? Oh, we're doing pretty good. Pretty good. And as you guys know, I have it pinned up at the top of the chat box. The link to the spreadsheet if you want to be in the card drawing at the end. And you all know the drill. If you have any issues, any problems, just say something. Somebody will add your name. And it doesn't matter where you live in the world. I can mail a card anywhere. If it's in another country, I gotta get some more international stamps. I can get those tomorrow. Yeah, I went through all of those international Christmas stamps that I had. Okay. Oh, man, getting all sweaty all of a sudden. All right. And it's not like it's the lights, because these are these LED lights, so they don't, I mean, I can touch them. I mean, they're not hot, so it's not the heat off of the lamps. It's crazy. Okay, so then on these flowers here, I'm going to use the light Golden Glow. I will say that this really is a fun suite to work with. Now it'll be interesting because next Friday we're going to be using that Velvet Meadow. Is that what it's called? Using that velvet paper. And my plan is, so this weekend, well, you probably realized when Yvonne was talking about like making dinner and all that. So Yvonne is not, she's not here this weekend. There's weekends, like the second weekend of each month at my church. The men do a men's prayer breakfast, and Don attends that, so that's usually a Saturday that he's got off. So Yvonne, you know, she's at home, and then, you know, they got the day to do, you know, whatever they want to do together. So she's not here this weekend. So this weekend, that's my opportunity. I can work on some stuff, try to get ahead of the game, because yeah, next week is gonna be yeah, the not so fun week of doing. See, my things are coming apart. Is this one cracked too? Actually, yep, that one's cracked too. So I gotta check this one too to see if I got a spare set. And this one's actually starting to feel like it's about to get dry. And this is the light, right? Yep. Okay. You know, soft sea foam is one of those colors that I don't usually use a lot, but there's times that the color goes very well with some of these darker ones. So I think, is it next year? I think next year we're supposed to be getting a color refresh. And so yeah, I'm hoping it's not a color that's going to go away. Let's see. Don says hello, and Yvonne is back. Was that I had a few blends that have done that.
You know, it's one of those things when it comes to these markers. You just never know. I had it happen with, as a matter of fact, it was Mossy Meadow and, or Old Olive and Cherry Cobbler. Those are the ones that if the thing goes flying, the inner part goes flying, yeah, that ink will get like all over the place. All right, so I have my dark Mossy Meadow. And we're going to come in and just add a little bit for shadow. Okay. All right, then we're going to bring in our dark berry burst. And just add a little bit of this like in the middle. So how was dinner, Yvonne? Did it come out good? Um Yeah, I have a bin like whenever they were on sale or if it was something that I knew I was doing like a bigger project that I was coloring, I had gotten extra ones. And so I have a bin with markers in it. I may have these colors and the truth is those I think so. Stampin' Up had the what was it? It was called blendabilities when they first came out. So you had a light, medium, and a dark of some colors. Like there was a Coastal Cabana. I don't know why they didn't bring back Coastal Cabana, but they didn't. And um, there was like quality issues with those. I think people were getting them and they just got them, and then they were drying out already, like dried out. So, they tried doing whatever they could to make it work. And so then they just kind of took them off the market. And then a few years later, they came out with the Stampin' Blends. And so the first time when they came out, the blendabilities, I didn't get a chance to get them. And so I kind of did without. And then when they came out with the blends, then, you were able to order them like all the colors they had available, like as a bundle price. That pricing didn't last very long. But some of these markers are that old. Like the Seafoam, I think this is original from back then, and I think the Mossy Meadow was too. All right, so now the dark um, soft sea foam. I'm going to do the middle. Just add some on the wings. Okay, so our coloring is done. All right. So now let's do some assembling. All right, so these pieces here, these are going to be layered on here, but they're going to be popped up. So I kind of take it like this, and I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to basically connect these with some dimensionals. Let's see, we'll put one there. And we'll put two there. All right. All right, I think I got all of them. And then I'll come in and place that like so. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this piece. I'm going to add some seal to that. Get my linen thread. Just kind of loop this on here. Like so. And then dimensionals. Actually, gotta see how I'm gonna place this. I'm gonna add this one right here. And then I'm gonna add some seal. Put that straight. Make sure that's straight. Okay. Scissors. Snip. All right. And actually we're done with the linen thread, I think. Yeah, we're done with the linen thread. All right. So now we're going to take our little colored in pieces and we're going to glue those down. So take this one and place that one over here. Whoops, I shifted. Hold that down for a second. Yes, yes, Terry, that is a real thing. And I suffer from it too. That kind of goes along with, you know, the same club that Kim is part of, you know, hoarding paper. All right, this one will go over here. Hold that down for a moment. Hello, Tanya. Okay, and then we got our moth. And we're going to add our moth right up here. All right. Now we're going to take our Winkostella and we're going to color, add some to our flowers. I love what Winkostella does to images that you colored with the blends. It just makes, you know, the coloring pop. All right. and then we'll do our moth. All right, now our embellishments, and for this one we're going to use the clear ones. So we will add one right down here. And again, what's really cool about these, you can see through these. So that's pretty cool. And we'll add another one right over there. Okay, there is our second card. And of course, since the inside's white, we don't have to worry about putting a layer in there. So there is our second card. All right, our third card, I think, came out pretty cool. Now this is the one that is a lot of little bits, and I just want to make sure none of those little bits are caught up. I don't want to lose any of them. You ready? There is our third card. So we're using the embossing folder, and then we're using our brayer to add some ink on those raised areas of our embossing. So there's our third card. So let me bring in my pieces. Lots of little itty bitty pieces. So I die cut those little flowers that we did at the very beginning in Golden Glow. I did them in Berry Burst, and so I got those little itty bitty flower centers out of white. So we don't want to lose those. Okay. So the card base is Secret Sea 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. A piece of basic white for the inside, that's 5 1/4 by 4. Piece of that Moonlit Flora Designer Series paper. This is 5 1/4 by 4. And then a piece of basic white that measures 4 1/4 by 3. And then ahead of time, I did emboss it using that fern&flora 3D embossing folder. So we're going to add ink onto that. Then out of a scrap piece of soft sea foam, I die cut the label die that's out of this bundle. And then for the leaves, so there's the little one that we used at the very beginning, but this one's die cut out of Mossy Meadow. Then this leaf is out of Old Olive. And then this larger one is out of Peaceful Pine. So a combination of some different greens. And then again, that strip die that die cuts these petals for building the 3 different flowers, that's die cut out of Berry Burst. And then of course the die that does the little flower centers, I did that out of Basic White. All right, so let's take our card base, let's fold and burnish this and add the center, the inside of our card, our basic white piece. Okay, glue. No, who has no internet? Wait, what happened? You know, well, Kim, I can't speak for other people, but the way I've kind of looked at it is, you know, when I put the cards together, you know, it doesn't matter what order they're in. I kind of look at it after I got them all done, and I kind of think, okay, what was the easiest, most simplest one? And usually that's the one I will do first, and then I'll kind of work my way up to the last one being the more detailed one. Susie D. Oh, okay. So Yvonne was asking about Susie D. Okay. Yeah, speaking of no internet connection, let me tell you about the situation I had on Tuesday. Wait, what did Deborah say? Her neighbor moved and they shut off power to her place, and that is where the router was located. Oh my gosh. So let me tell you about my internet issues. Let's just say Xfinity was on my list on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, I actually had gone into the office, which is, I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. Um, Office is in South Haven, Mississippi, which is right over the border. So for me, driving the highway that they're doing road construction on takes about 45 minutes to get there. So, leave early in the morning. I'm up at 5, get out of here by around 6 o'clock. And so, of course, when I leave here, I set my alarm system and I go to work. Okay, fine, I'm at work. Well, just before I was ready to leave at 4, or just after 4, I had looked at my phone and I had a notification that the internet was out. It had been out since like 3:45. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, this thing better be fixed by the time I get back. Well, I took my time coming back. I got back here just after 6, and they said that it was going to be 6:50 when it was going to be back on. Well, here comes 6:50. Guess what wasn't turned back on? Then next thing you know, they're saying 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So the whole time, guys, I literally sat, it came back on only because I kept on checking it. I didn't wait for the notification from them because they're horrible when it comes to sending notifications right away. I'll tell you when I got the notification when it came back on. The next day at 8 a.m. Yeah, that wouldn't have helped me if that's what I relied on. So I checked it, and finally I checked the app that I use for my alarm system, and it showed that it was back online. Now, why does it matter that I ended up sitting in my car all this time? Part of the time I had it running with the AC going, and then there were times I had to shut it off, and conserve the battery power on my phone. Um, the system that I have, so it's a cube, okay? And on the top is where it has the buttons. Now, I have never, when it comes to this alarm system, I have never used the keypad. I always use the app on my phone. It's so much easier. And the other thing too is that those numbers on top of that box, they don't light up. And where I have my box located, it's so when you kind of come in at the end of my dining room, I have like a calyx unit that I've made my coffee bar. And so it sits like on that bottom shelf. Well, it's kind of dark, and I think you got like 60 seconds if you open up the door to like get that thing disarmed. Which I could, like I said, I could have done that. However, I have never done that. And the last thing that I need is for that thing to go off. Ask Yvonne. She realized what that thing sounds like. When that thing goes off as loud as it does, and it's in the small enough space that it's in, all I can tell you is I get like this when that thing goes off. And so I fumble with my phone, trying to disarm it, try to beat it where, ADT's not, calling me to, well, yeah, they're not calling me to say, okay, is everything okay? So I basically kind of like sat it out and waited, and I'm thinking, really spending all that time in the car was definitely no bueno. I was not happy about that because all of that time that I would have had from since coming home, I ended up eating dinner late and then really didn't get anything done because now it was getting late and I had to go to bed. Oh, yes, and like I said, by the time I walked in the door, it was 10 after 9. Yeah, and then they send they send a notification by text to let you know when it's come back on, and I kid you not, it was 8 a.m. the next day when they sent that, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Yeah, so that was my fun little internet, Wi-Fi issue. All right, so we got that. Now let's add our flower centers on these. Okay. All right, so we got those. Now let me set that aside. We'll close up our glue and let's get our scrap paper here. Open this up. I'm going to place our embossed piece of basic white. Kind of move this stuff out of the way. I'm going to get my brayer. Okay, and then I'm going to get my soft seafoam ink. Okay, so with this brayer, it's got these little feet right here, so you can put that down and then your roller's not gonna touch your paper. And so the one thing you want to be very, very mindful of when you use this is that you have those facing up so you don't end up tearing up your ink pad. I don't know if you remember a few years ago, we had the foam brayers where you had like the plastic holder on it. I was doing, what was it? A few years ago, we had those sunshine boxes. That was the theme of one of the paper pumpkins, and I decided that I was going to take boxes, I took the old paper pumpkin boxes, turned them inside out, and I was gonna, do them yellow. Well, I used it, and those ends on it literally dug into my my ink pad, so I had to replace it. Okay, so now I'm gonna go over the top, and my soft sea foam ink pad is very inky. Okay, so it is going to dry lighter than that. So let me just kind of clean this. And since that's clean, I am just going to roll it on my pant leg just to dry it. There we go. Good as new. And then we'll close this up. Alright, and then I'm going to bring in my Secret Sea ink. Kind of put that there. Alright. Now what I want to do is I'm going to kind of build my pieces on top of that, and then I'll place the whole thing on my card base. So I'm going to take my designer series paper and I'm going to glue this down this way. center that. Yeah, that's well, I will tell you this. Definitely when at the end of this month, on that last Friday, the 28th, when I go to use that sweet, what was it, Sunflower Fields, I am definitely going to be using that embossing folder with that one. All right, let me put that aside. Let me get a little greeting label here. And the stamp we're going to use, You Make the World a Better Place. And this one, I know I have, the one thing about that, what do you call it, the Stampin' Scrub, is that there's little fibers that are coming off of it, and then it ends up sticking to my stamps. Oh, they're using the brayer on inking that? Yes, I think that, yeah, I just may end up doing that. Who knows? Okay, I got it off of there. All right, so we're going to use Secret C. Make sure that's dry. Now this one, I did not add that frame on it, only because this greeting's a little bit wider, so I didn't know if it would have covered it up at all, so. Okay. I'll clean this up. I have one big mess on this table. A huge mess. Running out of room. Move some things out of my way. Give me all these stamps. And then when all is said and done, then I'll clean everything up. Okay, so on this piece, now I got everything stuck to this. Alright, so I'm going to take my Peaceful Pine Leaf and my glue. And again, the die it cuts these slits in these leaves, so I don't want to go too crazy with the glue because I don't want it to kind of ooze out. Alright. And I'm going to add this one right over here. Oh, you talking about the pieces for these flowers? Yeah, they're small. They're small. I was worried about that I would end up losing like one of the little flower centers. Okay, so this one has a lot of little leaves on it. And we'll drop right there. Alright, and then this one is going to go right over here. Well, I can tell you, Kim, that if something is if it's out of stock here in the US, it's also out of stock for Canada, because we both, we're both under North America, so all our stuff comes from the same warehouse. So yeah, if you don't have it, we don't have it. So how long have you all been stamping? So Kim's back, not, blah, blah, I can't talk. So Kim has been stamping for 2 years or so, but not steady, since you do, as you do a number of crafts. Well, this is kind of funny, actually. So back at the time when I lived in Cleveland, Ohio, um, I too was dabbling in a lot of different crafts, and I did it again, guys. Oh shoot. And I was thinking about it earlier today too. The one craft that I really, really got into, and I want to say that this was like even back in '86. Now, back at that time, I was still in New York. Counted cross stitch was like, it was my thing. And I mean, I had all the different flosses. I had, the fabric and everything else. And I was also doing like plastic canvas, making plastic canvas stuff. And I was making jewelry. I was just dabbling in a bunch of different things. And then I literally had this thought, oh, rubber stamping, I'm not going to get involved with that because, man, I mean, it'd be just too expensive with all the stamps and then the ink and, all that stuff. Ha 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 ha. What hobby is cheap, right? So anyway, I was at work, and there was this tall cubicle wall between me and a coworker on the other side of it, and I overheard them talking. So one of the girls had a catalog, and she was showing her the catalog, and she was saying that her friend, she does classes, and it felt like it was every Saturday. And so, nosy little me is like, ooh, a catalog. So I had, I walked over there, and I asked, if I can look at it when she was done. And so I started going to these classes. It would take me like 20 minutes or so to get to this woman's house. And get this, it turned out that I don't know if was it her or was it, well, her now ex-husband, had relatives on Long Island in Comac. I don't know if Sharon, you probably know where Comac is. Um, I mean, heck, if you know where Eastport is, I mean, then maybe you should know where Comac is, because Eastport's just this little itty bitty town. That's where I'm from. Um, but anyway, so I went, and, you know, doing the projects. One of the things that she also did too, we had a store, a craft store. I want to say it in comparison, it's almost like Hobby Lobby, where it just had a variety of stuff. And so I would go there. I was buying stuff like ribbons and all that. And then we also had a paper place where you can buy cardstock and papers like by the pound. And so, I mean, that was like right up the street from where she lived. So once you got done at one place, you went to the other. And so kind of got started in that. That was back in, I want to say, like 2007. And so I never became a demo. And well, one of the things that kind of, well, I don't know, I can't say that it makes me mad or it bothers me, because of just the situation. But I was ordering. It seemed like every time, like when we got together, and like I said, it felt like it was like every weekend or maybe every other weekend. And I was placing orders, But the one thing she never ever told me was that if you join, you can get this stuff at a discount. You don't necessarily have to, hold classes or anything like that. Because back at that time, I lived in a fairly small apartment, and I was never on the ground floor. So, it would have been a little bit hard for me, to hold anything in my apartment. So I just was a customer. Well, she decided, I don't know if at this point, her marriage was kind of like on the rocks at this point. Um, she decided that she was going to go back to school, and she wanted to become a teacher. So with that happening, she really wasn't going to have the time or the energy to, continue to do classes. So she had dropped as a demonstrator. Well, after that happened, I just stopped ordering. Of course, again, back at that time, I just, again, nothing was ever really said. I just assumed that, if you ordered anything, you had to order from a demonstrator that was local to you. I could have had a choice of a whole bunch of people, across the whole US. And so after she had dropped, then her upline was, constantly reaching out to me, and at that point I was like, nah, and I stopped ordering. So when it came to like any stamping supplies and all, like I said, the store, and we also had like a scrapbook store too. I just went to those places and bought stuff. Well, what was it? Just after, I came across, like the first time I went to an event, okay, so you saw me glue everything down, and then I took a piece of that berry burst ribbon and just kind of wrapped that around along the base there. And then my greeting is going to be on, I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this, and I'm going to lay this right over here, and then this is going to be popped up on there. So anyway, and I'm going to use edge pieces for this. So the first time I went, the first stamp set that I had ordered, I thought to myself, let me kind of like Google and do a search to see if I can find any ideas of what to do with it. And so that is where I came across split coat stampers. Now, split coat stampers, it plays a very significant role as to me being a demo today. So when I got on there, next thing you know, I was poking through the whole site. It's a whole stamping community. So there's different forums. There's like swapping forums, which I totally got addicted to. Um, and so I started looking at it, and somebody had done one to create cards using like your favorite sports team colors. So living in Ohio State was my team. So they're scarlet and gray. So I actually had dies that, I forget, was it Quick Cuts, I think it was, that they actually had one for Ohio State. So it had the Buckeye, it had the leaf, it had the O, and so perfect. And I had the letter dies, and it's like, I did one that said Ohio State. So that was like my first swap that I was in. Well, it turned out that people that were in that group swapping, everybody kind of rotated and would host a swap. So I got to know all these ladies, and it was to the point that we were our own little group. So we actually like gave each other like, well, we came up with hoe names. And back at that time, I was big into doing country line dancing. So my name was Ho Down Hottie Ho. Um, and so, swapped with these ladies, and I had a lot of cards as a result of it. And So one of the ladies that was in it, she lives in Washington State. She had said, you know, if you want to become a demo, you don't have to do classes. You can just get the discount. And so, you know, I thought about it and I told her, well, you know, at that point, you know, um, I didn't want to do anything yet because I knew I was going to be moving down here. And so when I moved down here, she's like, well, they got this special that's going on. This is when they were celebrating their 25th anniversary. So back at that time, you can join for just $25. But in your starter kit, you can only choose like $25 in product. So I joined back in October of, and so I've basically been at this ever since. But the interesting thing is that when I had joined with her, um, she was working as a corrections officer at night. So she said, well, I'm going to add you to my upline's Facebook group. So that way, you know, if you have any questions or anything, you know, you can get the answer there. Well, like I said, I've been kind of hanging out on that Split Coast Stamper website. And by the way, it's a great site. It is free. I mean, you can do a paid membership that you get like a couple of extra little perks, but if you have like not just old but even current Stampin' Up sets, there's actually a gallery with a whole bunch of sample projects that were done, and a lot of them actually have the recipe, like, you know, the color of inks that they used and anything else. So that's where I started off, and I actually have a gallery in there. But anyway, so it turned out that the page that I looked at the person that actually, you know, was overseeing that and who our upline was, and I was kind of shocked because the picture of the person looked very familiar. It turned out to be Lydia Fiedler, who is still to this day the community manager over Split Coast Stampers. And so I kind of felt intimidated at first, but there was no reason for me to. Um, yeah, Lydia is just, she's an absolute sweetheart. And like even the whole group, the whole team that I was on, I loved it. You know, a few years later, you know, they kind of dropped as demonstrators. So since do I want to say 2016, 2016, 2017, somewhere around there. That ever since then, I've actually don't have an upline. I report directly up to Stampin' Up because, again, when my upline dropped, I would have rolled up to her, but then when she dropped too, then I don't, you know, you don't roll up to who her upline was. So yeah. So that's kind of like how I got my start, and then I've been kind of doing this all this time, but for the most part, it was basically playing. And then when we hit 2024, or just prior to that in the September 23, I decided, you know what? I had been my own best customer for the longest amount of time. I talked about doing videos. I just didn't have the stuff to set it up. And then there was this training thing that a free training thing that they did about social media. I did that, and then I decided, okay, I was going to start doing video content. So yeah, January 2024 was my first YouTube live. And then I did some pre-recorded stuff before that. So there we go. There is our third card. Oh, I forgot something. I forgot something. Let's break out the Winkostella. And let's add that to our berry burst flowers. Let's just bling this up a little bit more. Yeah, so that's kind of like my journey with all of this. And so, yeah, you know, so stamping and card making, you know, I mean, if you saw how many cards I have, because I would just make duplicates of a lot of stuff and I would just be playing really, it became too much. And then even doing this video content, doing at least 2 videos a week, I just like, when it came to June, I took that whole month off. I just needed a break. The demands of what, you know, work was doing to me, what it still continues to do to me today. Yeah, it was just I couldn't keep up. So I needed to take that little bit of break and then, you know, kind of readjust what I was doing and just kind of do these Fridays and then do my paper pumpkin at least. So I keep, you know, putting content out there. So that's kind of like my story. All right, so there's our third card. Let me bring in our other two. So we have this one. And then our first one right here. Okay, so the way this is going to work, I kind of taken everything and kind of cleaned it up here. So that way I have some room to move. So I have a little sticky notes with names, and it's starting to get dark out there. Okay, so the way this is going to work, if you would like to be in the drawing, and again, doesn't matter where you are in the world, if you want to be in the drawing, you can. I can mail cards anywhere. And what do you call it? It's product that I can't send out of the US. Yeah, and Kim, and then it's like since then I've gotten into doing like diamond painting stuff, and I've gotten back into doing my cross stitching, and I've been saying that I was going to pull out the projects that the little projects I completed and what I'm working on now to show you, and I keep forgetting to grab that, so I'm going to pull that stuff out and I'll show it to you on next Friday. So, all right. Is Yvonne already like dissing us? Where you going? Where you going, woman? You can stay a little bit longer. You can stick around a little bit longer. All right, so let me see. Let me see what we have here. So again, if you want to be in the drawing, there is a link that is pinned up at the top of the chat box. Let's see. We got Froggy, Sharon, Kim, Terry, Debbie, Tracy, and Holly. Is there anybody else who would like to be in the drawing? Do we have everybody? Tanya, what is Tanya on? Did I say Tanya's name? No. Tanya, would you like to be, if you're still here, would you like to be in the drawing? Yeah, I've gotten the cross stitching. I'm working on this one because 4th of July, for some reason, I like doing the patriotic stuff. And being that it was the 250th, I actually got one that I'm working on. Yeah, I mean, I will tell you, Tanya, postage for sending something to Australia is the same as what it would cost me to send something to Canada, and it's not bad, I think. What is an international stamp now? I think it's like $1.70 or something. The reason why I don't know exactly what it is because I bought a whole bunch back before December. So I mean, yeah, it's fine. It's not crazy. Now sending a package or a bigger envelope, yeah, then that's a little bit costlier. But to send a card, nah. It's no higher than sending a card to Canada. Okay. So I'll add you on there. Okay. So Froggy, Sharon, Kim, Terry, Debbie, Tracy, Holly, and Tanya. That's everybody. I think we got everybody. Let me kind of copy all these. Add them to my wheel. And let me see, we got everyone. Okay, so let me move these out of the way. So if I draw your name, basically just tell me which card you would like. So the order I made them, card 1, card 2, and card 3. And if I draw your name and I've never sent you a card before, again, my email address is either in the description of the video or I have it pinned up in that pinned comment at the top. Just send me an email and let me know what your mailing address is. My plan is tomorrow morning I do have to run out, so my plan is to drop these cards off in the mail in the morning. So if I choose you, if you can provide your address to me tonight, that would be awesome so I can get your card out. And I know it'll take, like last week we had somebody from Australia, so I know the card's going to take a little bit to get there. So let me bring this in. This is the only way I can do this. Let me move the lights out of the way so it doesn't glare. How are we doing on time? Ooh, we hit the 2-hour mark. Okay. Was Sharon not on there? Oh, Sharon, yeah, Sharon's on there. Yeah, we got Sharon. Okay. All right, so I think we have everybody. So let's go ahead and give this a spin. Sharon. Which card would you like, Sharon? Number 3, okay. All right. Next one. Kim. You know, YouTube is just, it's screwy. You know, Facebook is screwy, YouTube is screwy. The technology stinks at times. All right, so card number 2, let's see who that's gonna go to. Ooh, Tracy, wow. That is like literally a hair over the line. Okay, where is the sticky note I got for Tracy? You know who I haven't seen in a while? I haven't seen Becky. I, I remember seeing posts that I think she was helping her mom like sell some furniture or something. Okay. All right, so let me pull this out of the way and kind of wrap up. So if you like the projects I made tonight, if you could, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you are not already subscribed and you like, I got plenty of content out there, uh, you know, subscribe. I do have PDFs from my Friday night videos where I have pictures. I have a link that's back to the video and all of that. Uh, in the description, that little kind of bullet point that's right above the list of supplies, I have over 100 PDFs out there that go up until like I think the end of May. So they're free. So if you want to check those out, if you want any inspiration, again, they're free. Also, like I said, I will be working on my newsletter. So, newsletters, I typically only do one a month unless there's some kind of special or sale. So, if you would like to subscribe, if you would like to receive it, I do have a link for that in the description as well. Like I said, I'm not going to bombard you with emails every single day. Frankly, I just don't have time to do something like that, so you never have to worry about that. Um, Also, like I said, next Friday I'll be live again at 6 p.m. Central, and my plan is to use that Velvet Meadow, I think is, or Velvet Meadows is the name of the suite. We're going to be using that. The following Friday, I'm going to use all of Flutter, so that butterfly stamp and matching punch. I'm going to do that, and then the last Friday of the month, we're going to do that Sunflower Field suite, the new suite that's going to be in the new catalog. And again, if you want the new catalog and you're not working with another demo and you're in the US, again, send me an email. I'll be more than happy to mail one out to you. And for those of you that are on the our birthday list, like heads up, our next birthday is Sharon on September 20, not September, my goodness, August 28th. We do have two in September. Hey, Sherry. And so, so yeah, that's what's going on. So, let's see. Okay, I got everybody's address, so we're good. All right, so thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. Have a good rest of your evening or day, depending on where you're located. If you're dealing with heat, fires, storms, and all that, please stay safe and enjoy your weekend. And I will see you next week. Everyone, have a blessed one. Bye bye.